All right, everybody, another day, another news release by Palantir. I know we had one yesterday with the Trafigura partnership to help resolve climate change. We've got a new one with Stellantis. Now, Stellantis, for those who don't know, is a company that owns a lot of car brands under their belt. They were before they were called right here. So, in 2021, on the basis of a 50-50 cross-border merger between the Italian-American conglomerate Fiat Chrysler Automobiles and the French PSA Group. So they had that conglomerate. They do 150 billion in euros in revenue per year. Very, very big car company. And they essentially became a holding company that has a variety of car brands underneath their portfolio. As you can see, Fiat, Jeep, Maserati, Ram, Vauxhall, Nissan, Almo, Abarth, and then Chrysler, and then Dodge. So those are the brands that they have underneath them. They build a lot of cars. Now, why is this important before we get into the enterprise deal? I did an article a couple of days ago on dailypalantir.com, how Palantir saved 1,500 jobs at a car plant. And I did this article not knowing this deal was going to come out. It was just something I wanted to write about. And essentially, I'm not going to explain it now, but I'll probably do another video on it. But it's about the role of technology. And the role of technology was Palantir decided at a Fiat Chrysler plant, instead of replacing 1,500 people with some computer, why don't we create software technology that allows that computer to use Foundry in a way that helps those people in the factory learn how to do complex things in a user-friendly way via technology versus replace them. And it goes into the philosophical values around Palantir and the role of technology that they have. So that's super important. Now, as a result of that, Stellantis, which used to be Fiat Chrysler, announced a global deal, an enterprise deal with Palantir. Before we get into this, the reason this is happening is because Palantir has been working with them for a couple of years now, right? That interview was in 2018 when Karp was talking about saving 1,500 jobs. So they've been working with them for a while, so it only makes sense that they're now finally actually making it official. So let's read. Palantir Technologies today announced a partnership with one of the world's leading automakers and mobility providers, Stellantis. Stellantis will deploy Palantir's Foundry operating system across the company's brands, business functions, and plant locations to accelerate its digital transformation into a sustainable mobility tech company, improve supply chain performance, enhance vehicle quality, speed deliveries, and scale marketing and sales efforts. This agreement will expand Palantir's previous relationship with Stellantis founding companies to a global enterprise-wide license across the company's vast ecosystem and 14 iconic automotive brands, with Palantir Foundry powering decisions across markets and functions at what became, in 2021, a world leader for a new era of sustainable mobility. Palantir Foundry is designed to transform the way organizations operate by creating a central operating system for their data. So beyond scaling best practices with the merged group, Stellantis will leverage Foundry to build a unified digital twin of its operations and accelerate company-wide synergies, meaning the entire company integrated throughout all their car brands and all the manufacturing and parts and shipping and logistics and supply chains are going to be using the centralized operating system, integrating all that siloed data into one place. And that's where Palantir comes in. Foundry will also be used across a wide variety of functions designed to help improve quality, ensure continued delivery and service in today's supply-driven world, and contribute to improved margins. For example, the ability to analyze billions of connected vehicle data points through Foundry will give Stellantis the tooling to foresee quality issues and leverage intelligence about the state of vehicles for research and development. Foundry will also help increase Stellantis' insights into parts availability and shift its tools to meet the needs of customers in a supply-driven world. It will also help deliver key sales and marketing insights, leading to a better understanding of profitability. Some quotes. We are grateful for the confidence of Stellantis that leads to the expansion of our collaboration across their enterprise. Palantir executive Josh Hare says, in today's data-driven world, the Foundry operating system is uniquely positioned to offer insight into a critical operational and manufacturing function. Now, why do I like this deal? So I'm pretty bullish on this deal. Stellantis works with a lot of cards. We don't know how much money Palantir is getting out of this deal. It might be a little, might be a lot, but the point is they're getting a decent amount of exposure to this part of the enterprise. Now, there's a couple of ways that this could ultimately turn out. First of all, if they're working with a company that's making 150 billion euros a year, right, in revenue. So you're working with a pretty big company in terms of the amount of scale they are operating just in terms of volume and revenue that they're doing. If that's the case, you've got some things at play here. Number one, Palantir is getting really strong integration into a very, very big enterprise. And this is important because if we want Palantir to scale into entire industries, the first thing they have to do is break into one enterprise. Fiat, Chrysler's, and Stellantis group, you could consider their enterprise an industry in and of itself. It's not the whole automotive industry, but at the point where you have 12, 15 car brands under one holding company, you are controlling a decent amount of the industry. And for Palantir to be able to operate with the holding company of those 12, 15 car brands, which means all the parts, all the manufacturing, all the dealerships, all the supply chains are going through Foundry, which is what it seems like this deal is going to be doing for the entirety of the enterprise. I don't know how lucrative of a deal that is. Obviously, they're probably not able to disclose those numbers. Hopefully that's a probably, we're talking 40, 50, $60 million of revenue that's going to Palantir, potentially even per year, which is why they said their top 20 paying customers pay them like $45 million a year. So it's probably a very big deal in terms of the actual revenue, but it's a bigger deal in terms of the precedent that it sets for the industry for Palantir. And this is the thing to understand about this company as well. It's about the precedent, right? It's about the principle. A lot of these things are not reflected in the stock price. They did a deal with HHI, Hyundai Heavy Industries, in January, which is the biggest South Korean largest manufacturing shipyard plant. And it's about the precedent. Like they only got $25 million. That's nothing. But the fact that they're the operating system for shipyards in South Korea and they're partnering with the biggest one in the world, like that sets a precedent. With Skywise, I don't know how much money they made from that with Airbus, that partnership they launched, which was the operating system called Skywise, but it set the precedent and that monetized in the back end. The partnership they launched yesterday with Trafigura, which is doing this climate change data driven approach to actually reduce your carbon emissions. I don't know how much money that's going to produce, but it sets a precedent. And when you set a precedent in an industry, it's what they're doing with the SPACs, right? They're trying to say, hey, these startups can become really big if they're building on top of Foundry. And it's what they're doing with all their other clients in the energy, blockchain, healthcare sector. Like, hey, if you build on top of us, it will actually accelerate your business. It sets a precedent that other industries and other companies within those industries and other enterprises should recognize how vital that foundation that Palantir has created is. So the way I think of this Stellantis deal is I don't know what it means in terms of monetary revenue for the company. I definitely is not going to improve or do anything to the stock. But if this deal gets them to work with other car manufacturers and gets them to work with other and like it has this sort of spring ball effect in which now ships want to work with Palantir, airplanes want to work with Palantir, cars want to work with Palantir, electric cars want to work with Palantir. We already know the combination they're doing with Wejo. Like there's so many exponential opportunities, and all the people that are just saying it's a hype stock, it's junk. It's like, all right, if you don't want to do the due diligence to actually understand what this is, then that's fine. And on the numbers, you could definitely say that. But I just did a reaction to Karp's interview, which is a video that I posted before this. His argument was like, I know the end game. I understand what's going to go happen in the end game. We are creating some of the most important software products in the world that are going to be operating systems for many very industries, including the government, which is very sticky revenue. It's very reliable revenue. So if you got those two things at play, I am betting on the potential of the precedent that Palantir is setting in a variety of different industries and a variety of different verticals for them to be able to exponentially scale. I don't know if it's 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now where they are hitting 60% growth year over year. Is that going to happen? I don't know. But does the potential of that exist? And does the potential of that exist at a really monumental level if they're able to execute, which is always a risk, but if they're able to execute, then yes, I think it does. And I think that's how I interpret these types of partnerships with companies like Stellantis at the end of the day. They just have their hands in so many different places. They have Meta Constellation, they're going to space, now they're working with cars, they're doing climate change. I mean, they're doing just so many different things all the time, which is why it's a very, very exciting company to cover. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Facebook group for Palantir shareholders, just open it up. It'll be in the description. You can join it below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you in the next one.